Good morning. Welcome to Tarot Time and happy Lunar Eclipse. It's happening in just a couple of hours. So today we're going to, at near the end, we're going to do a little transmission, an energy transmission to help us to blend and sync more with these important and very powerful lunar eclipse energies. I apologize, I'm a couple minutes late getting on. It took me a minute or two to get the computer working and to get on. So if you're new, for Tarot Time, it's kind of our community hangout. So I interact a lot and post a lot of your comments when I see them coming up, when they're relevant to the conversation, or if you have a question about what's going on in the world. It's not so much about me doing personal readings for you, but in Tarot Time, we'll pick up on the energies. We'll give some forecasts for what's going on in the world around us, how the energies are playing out. Maybe things in your individual life might come up or in our community. I've got other divination cards. We'll end with an energy transmission to align us with these powerful eclipse energies. And I can tell you guys that this is really about completions and endings. We're in our 9 universal year. Nine's the 9-month in the 9 universal year. This eclipse is very powerful today, but I'm really looking to the solar eclipse on the 21st, because that's like the last degree of the sign of Virgo. So it's right at 29 degrees Virgo. So the last degree is a completion. There's a lot of aspects. And I think for the rest of the autumn, a lot of things are going to end. A lot's going to tumble down. And then we start to, trend into new beginnings in 2026. So let me put my glasses on, say a few quick hellos, and we'll dive in. And sorry, my nose is itching. Right. I didn't want you to see that. That's disgusting. Hello, Alicia. And hello, Mary. So what would I say? Texas, we are, or I'll just post a few comments and we'll get in. We are widely national this morning. So far, we have Northeast. These are where people are from. I get it. Hi, Alicia. Yes, completion ending. Didn't know there was an eclipse today. Interesting. Yeah, it's actually, we won't see it here in the States, from around Central to Eastern Europe and pretty much all of Asia and Africa. They'll see the total eclipse, and it's a longer track eclipse, so it's going to stay like that blood moon, because when the moon goes into the Earth's umbra, it kind of blocks out a lot of the blue and purple green light, but so there's a little bit of a maroon kind of a glow. It almost looks like a smoky maroon. If you've ever, I'm sure you've been out in a total lunar eclipse and have seen that. Hello, Beverly Wood. Hello, Chloe, Grand Rising. Prayers for Alicia. Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay, we're all sending you some prayers. Yes. Hello, Vic Fell. Hello, Chris Ziegler. Morning from Texas. Hello, Lisa, Mary, Felicia, Joshua. Hello. Have an amazing Sunday. You good work. Thank you for stopping in. Yes, Blood Moon Eve. Yeah. So the actually, I have my ephemeris here, so I can tell you exactly. I think it's about 2 p.m. Hello, Janice. And good morning, family. So Blood Moon Eve, happy to see familiar names here. Yes, thank you, and thanks everybody that's coming together. Hello, India. Hello, Kathleen. If I didn't say hi, hello, Chris. Welcome, Patricia Epperson. Welcome, and Michael's in. Great, love it when you come in. Thank you, and hi, Roseanne. And we'll see who comes up in new comments. Hello, Yolanda. All right. I think it's 2:05, but let me. Eastern time. So I'm on the East Coast in New York. 2:09. Yeah. So we're gonna end about 1:09, and the eclipse energy is actually starting, right? Actually 12:09. What am I saying? We're not going to be out for 2 hours. We're going to be out for about an hour, and that's when the eclipse energies are really going to start to come in. So good things to do. Eat light today, especially during the time. If you can be a little bit more contemplative, do some meditation, kind of slow down. In a lot of traditions, people just kind of stop what they're doing. And there's a scientific part of it. I mean, I know it's more like faith-based when you talk about astrology and eclipses and what the ancients have told us. But as I've said a few times on the channel already for the regulars, that when we have a lunar eclipse, it's an opposition. All full moons are opposition, sun moon opposition. The Earth's kind of in the middle, but the moon doesn't follow the sun's elliptical. Sometimes it goes, from our vantage point, south of the sun in its path, sometimes north. So a regular full moon, it's horizontally conjunct, but not necessarily vertically. Like the moon, sun, could be like opposition, but then when it's an eclipse, they're in an exact like gravitational vector, so it's creating an even stronger gravitational effect on the Earth. Anyway, I hope I explained that right. So a lot going on in the news. I think I don't know which forecast it was. I do psychic forecasts periodically on the channel. We're gonna have, I think, Thursday on 9/11. Actually, I think that's when I'm going to release the autumn psychic forecast. But I hadn't talked a heck of a lot about RFK Jr., right? Not so much here on Tarot Time and on my forecast up until a couple of weeks ago. And I don't remember which one it was, but I talked about, I think he's going to be on the news again. And oh my God, I saw a couple of the clips like boom, boom, boom. But whatever the case, I mean, I know, and I'm not going to get like all political and divisive here, because I can see some positives as well as some negatives with all of this stuff. I just think what's going on is catalyzing endings and things that need to end so that people can wake up and that things can be a little bit more fair. So, do I like the idea of making America healthy? Of course I do. I'm not into like full on anti-vaxxing. They have their place, but I am into like truth and disclosures and understanding all the different possibilities with all these medications, vaccines included. But that's not what I was going to say. Let me grab some tea on that. I think, especially people that are a little bit upset with what's going on with the administration and RFK's input. I think try to be patient and take it all in, not to get too triggered by this stuff. I mean, some of it may be crazy and off base, but I always remember that he's a lawyer, right? He's not a medical person, so he's in this position, and apparently, and we'll say hopefully, has some top medical people working under him when he's making these analysis and these decisions. But thanks to his work, there's stricter regulations on GMOs and Monsanto and stuff like that. So you take the good with the bad, and we'll just see. We'll connect to the community. We'll be strong. It's all part of the awakening. All of the stuff needs to come out. All the truth needs to come out so that we know, so that we can leave it all behind and reach a higher level. And these figures, Donald Trump, RFK, other world leaders, it's all part of the process of information coming out, awakening, renewal. And I'm not saying that they are like the messiahs that are intentionally doing this. It's just their place in history, if that makes sense. It's just the human evolution cycle that's going on right now. And these are like the bulls in the china shop, or the coyotes, as it were, that trick people into learning and waking up. So a lot of people, especially people that are against them, are probably doing more research and probably learning a few things and saying, oh, this point, there may be some validity, even if 90% of it is crazy, right? And then if you support it, well, we all have our views. So let's be a community, be an open community, and debate things that we don't agree on, agree to disagree, but with respect and compassion. And I think together we'll gain greater understanding what's going on. So again, we're in our 9 universal year. 9 is completions and endings. There's also a lot of energy. It's the pinnacle of the 369 code. So it really taps into spiritual forces also. So I think from the fall, yeah, from these eclipses on, we're going to see a lot of things ending. And this morning, I was just getting an image of the Federal Reserve, and I think there's going to be some real upheaval with the banking system, whether it's world finance or here in the U.S. or the European Union, Canada, and stuff like that. I just want to see what you guys are saying about all this stuff here. Yeah, there's a lot of comments. Hi, Angela. So hello, everybody. Mostly ragweed allergies. Walking to work. All right. Have a good day at work, Josh. Thank you. Um, and actually, I think they are looking to blame someone and villainize, and he's the one. Many cannot get some vaccines that they want, and many agree. Yeah, I hear that, and I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I just want disclosure. I want the truth. I just got an intuitive feeling not to do the COVID vaccine, and I went with that. But I would. Well, technically, I wasn't in the risk group. I wasn't in the risk group. Technically, I am. I'm a survivor of heart surgery, and I'm in my mid-60s. Trending to my later 60s now. But I just didn't feel it. But I'm glad they're available for people that need it. I'll put it that way. I just wish there was more disclosure, that people knew more about the possible risk, that it wasn't rushed through the system. And the big slogan, "Trust the science." I do like science, but not scientism, or not using science as a way to leverage control over a society with only partial facts. Because science, when it comes to medication, to vaccines in particular, tells me that it takes at least 8 years to maybe 12 years to validate the long-term safety of a vaccination, and it undergoes rigorous testing. Now, I understand there was an emergency, so it became available based on emergency use, but it was still in its trials. And if people could understand that more. So the problem that I'm seeing is that the corporations are greedy, and the profit tends to supersede the health and well-being of the masses. And as further research is done, I'm willing to bet that it's going to be validated that certain groups really can benefit from the vaccines, where other groups not so much. And then from my perspective, and it should be your perspective also, get all the facts. You can dig deeper and get all the facts. And if you feel that the potential benefits outweigh the potential risks, by all means do it. Just know what the potential risks are and just disclose it already, right? So that's my take. All right, now I will get off my soapbox and I will start to do some tarot work. But I want to see what you guys are saying also. So I've been doing allergy shots. I used to do allergy shots too, 3 years. Those would be 3 to 5 year programs. Yeah, the allergy shots can work. I'm big into alternative healing, mind over matter. I've healed things with my mind and intentions that doctors couldn't. But I also have a lot of respect for Western medicine too, and science. I'm a meteorologist by trade, although I didn't really work in that field. I just got trained in that field, and I respect the science, but I respect other things also. So anyway, what else? And Yolanda saying, yeah, I get you there. It would be nice if AI to come clean, move some furniture. Maybe, yeah, once AI and robotics get blended, that'll happen. Yeah. Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, because it does feel like inflation is going to start to be an issue, but that's more based on supply, only in certain sectors, based on supply lines being cut off and stuff like that. And the interesting thing about 9/21, it's it's the solar eclipse. Excuse me, the partial solar eclipse. It's packed full of aspects. It's on UN international peace states, right on the world axis, less than 1 degree off the world axis. Which is 0 degrees of the cardinal signs that lead the seasons, and also 15 degrees of the fixed signs. So that's very, very strong energy. What I find with these eclipses, people expect, wow, this is strong energy. Something's going to happen. The eclipse comes and goes. Like, all right, now what? Because the effects usually take weeks and even up to a month or two to really play out in the world. So we may not see a lot, but the energy is really happening. So let's see what else. Yeah, a lot of people. A lot of people, it was mandated, and now a lot of people are starting to speak out that the mandates were wrong. And as more comes out, I mean, I'm not going to get into a whole long soapbox about this, but some of the effects of the vaccine were misrepresented, and it's speculated that that was done intentionally, again, for profit and to control people and control the masses and get to this vaccine in everybody. Like I said, I don't think everybody necessarily needed it. I mean, I've had COVID 3 times. I just had a reading yesterday, and she said, "Well, I've had it 4 times." I mean, the poor dear is recovering from cancer also now. But she got all the boosters and the shots, but I think it was required by her job also, and she got the virus 4 times basically. But that's it. A lot of people had to do to keep their jobs. So I get that also. So if you did it and you're regretting it, don't blame yourself. Don't go into guilt and shame about it. We do what we think is right, and then when we get more information, maybe we do different things. That's all that it is. And the good news is that there are ways to detox both energetically as well as in your body from any of like the chemicals or the heavy metals or the additives to these vaccines. So there are ways to do that. So you're not doomed if you took the shot, just to be clear about that. Um, let's see what else. All right. We're copper. Oh, thank you, Valerie. That's interesting. Um, and what were you saying? I think the meeting might be scheduled for the 16th, 17th. And I had 3 times with the shot, but everyone should have a choice. Yeah, once they determine that it people transmit it even when they're vaccinated, that's the point. That shouldn't have been concealed. I mean, perhaps that people that are unvaccinated are more vulnerable to transmitting it, but everybody can. Yeah, just give us the facts, right? And what was that? Thanks, Anthragal, saying is exactly why there wasn't enough money in the world to get me to take that thing. Yeah, it's just what I felt, and I was ready to do it when they came out because at that time I didn't know what it was. I suspected that it was being used to leverage control, and I wanted to work in public. I wanted to do my mediumship groups in public, and there was a lockdown. And the way things were going was like, if you get your vaccine, you can go out into public. And then Spears like, no, well, but I'll put it this way: they told me if you do it, you'll be okay, but you're better off not doing it. And I have a lot of like autoimmune stuff. A lot of it I've healed with mind over matter and diets and stuff like that. And I listened to that, and I'm glad that I did personally. Um, right, Mary's saying don't blame myself. Yeah, intuitive divination, I do. Yeah, and uh, and Michael's saying that there are always ways to detox after a vaccine. Yeah, the last vaccine I took was the tetanus globulin one. Yeah, it was about 15 years ago, and I had all summer I had a bad skin reaction from it. And that for me that was the last vaccine I was going to do. It's RFK, yeah. So I believe the editor of the Ray. I look at it, and he's got outside of its position, so it lends a little bit more objectiveness. The biggest is a-holes can end up helping in this world. My problem with the whole thing is, I watched part of the hearings. They won't let him really speak. They cut him off, and they do the whole like narratives of the pharmaceutical companies, the CDC, and everything, and they don't really let him bring his points. And I think partly he's misunderstood. That's my opinion. You can disagree with that, but I think he's partially misunderstood. So on that note. Um, and hi, Carla. Thanks for talking. What you believe about everything is that, yeah, belief is so powerful, and that's a really, really good point. And if we really, hold the belief, we start to create that basically, and they did some studies with near-death experience eclipses, and they found a tendency for Jewish people to actually see a blue light at the end of the tunnel rather than a white light, and that's a color that's associated with deity in the Jewish faith. So yeah, belief is everything. Thanks for pointing that out. And some people had their guys tell them it was okay to get it if needed. Yeah, and I'm sure they got accurate information from their guides, but not me. And yeah, that's what you're saying, not me. I smelled the rat and stayed away. It cost me some good job opportunities, but now we are all in the past. Yeah, and good for you for sticking with your ideals and doing what you feel is right. Uh, Oh, River, yeah, I'm sure Carlos will reply, will forgive you. And hi, welcome, River. All right, so I'm gonna do some um, tarot now because it's tarot time. Like I said, for people that got on a little bit late, at the end we're gonna do an energy transmission. That's one of the things that I do is work with a spiritual group that I call the Master Teachers, and they work with my energy fields, and then as we're together doing a meditation, that they're able to they're able to shift the vibration or frequency and allow you to step into higher frequencies. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but we did a much longer one last night that's on the channel, so we're just going to do a quick one, and that's really to really align with these eclipse energies, and it's very much about healing. It's Pisces and Virgo energy. It's about endings, completions, letting go, opening up the subconscious, so releasing shadows or integrating shadows to release them. So we'll give you an energetic boost at the end to help you to take full advantage of these very powerful energies. Well, in the meantime, we're going to do a meditation card for the week. So I'm asking Spirit to give me the right card to tap into the best focal point for a meditation. And if anybody that's new, I'll explain how I recommend meditating with tarot. But I just need to take a moment to stop talking and still myself. It's funny. I feel like my guides are here, and I feel like they're still talking about RFK, and I feel like they're saying, yeah, he's got some good ideas, but to keep an eye on him, because there may be something that's a little bit more politically self-serving around that also. That's just what came in, but at the same time, like I was saying in the beginning, I do appreciate, he went to bat against Monsanto, and we have better regulations on GMO, genetically modified foods and stuff like that. So anyway, that's a nice card. I mean, that's a card of wealth, of empowerment, of riches, 10 of Pentacles. So it's a meditation card. One of the things that one of the things ways that I recommended to meditate with them is the first step is you just clear your mind like any other meditation. Clear mind, clear body, tuning into your breath, and then just take a moment. Just how do you feel? Not to go into your thinking mind. Staying present. You're not a name. You're not a body, right? Your energy and frequency. You have a name. You have a body, but that's not who you are. So when you really link in with that, you start to connect with spirit or the quantum field. Not you're ever disconnected. It's only through our focus or our attention. It's placed so hyper focus on our physical bodies, our physical lives, that we kind of drown out all the rest of it. So when we still our minds, go into our breath, and come into that feeling, I'm not a name, I'm not a body, I'm energy and frequency, and do that, then you start to blend more with the field. So once that happens, just be aware of what you're feeling, and in your mind, step into the card. This is the Hanson Roberts deck. If you have your own tarot cards, pull your 10 of Pentacles, get a visual of that. Then your mind step into it. And the first thing is, what do you feel as soon as you step in? Without going to your personal mind, staying present, just setting a gentle intention while you're present. What am I feeling? How is it different? And then see who else is that. There's like 3 generations of a family here, right? So this could be, and I think what I notice in a card is part of the meaning, and I think this is going to allow you to understand more about your own ancestry as well as your future. You wouldn't call it ancestry, but I'll call it future ancestry, and understanding like within certain bloodlines, there's certain repetitive patterns, and we're at this lifetime where we actually are starting to have true free will. We haven't had that for thousands of years. Even the rich people were slave to their riches. And indigenous people that were free for a while eventually got captured and lost their freedom. But the idea is, just see if you can gain insights into your bloodline, your heredity, and you may gain insights into what what issues that you have, either psychologically, emotionally, or what illnesses. Like, I've had a lot of autoimmune problems my whole life. I mean, I'm a lot better. I haven't completely healed it yet. I did heal the worst, which was chronic. The worst case of eczema that the chief dermatologist in NYU had ever seen for almost 60 years of my life. So anyway, point being is that things are healable once you're able to tap into the right frequency to heal it. And it really starts with just being present in the moment. And no matter, I was doing this, no matter how much I was itching or how much steroids I was using, when I was in that moment and I was present in my mind, there's no itching. I'm perfect. And I do that every day, and it's through the power of repetition that my beliefs, that's what Carla was saying with belief, that my belief became that I don't have this. It took about 3 years because the underlying belief system of decades of torture was still there, even though I was working on it and chipping away at it, and my body eventually responded to it. So but a lot of this is in our ancestry. Not genetics is powerful, but the emotional tendencies, the way our ancestors, our parents, our grandparents, their parents saw the world, responded to things. That's what we really inherit, because we see that when we're children and we absorb that, and their beliefs become our beliefs and their responses become our responses. So when we start to tap into that and start to understand that more and make other choices, that's when we can start to heal ourselves and also heal our ancestry. So I do believe that's why this card came up for our meditation and something to work on this week. This is the eclipse season. We're right in the heart of it. It's in the 9 year of endings and completion. So let's all end things that we've been suffering from, whether it's mentally, emotionally, or physically, or all of the above, basically. So on that note, it's the corn moon also. Thank you, Colleen, and welcome. The Mulkin mind trick. Yes, absolutely. Oh, did somebody vomit? I've had a lot of trolls come on lately, although yeah, that was you. Okay, you're not a troll. I wouldn't be surprised. I've had a lot of trolls coming on lately, which is good. I think it's Spirit's way of saying that we're gearing up for another push. Maybe another video will hit the algorithm soon, and I'm just getting used to having to shield all this negativity. But anyway. And that's interesting. So you had a reading with a shaman who identified my ancestral pattern. I developed this new understanding about what karma is. It's repeating pattern. Exactly. And I say that a lot on the channel. And I'll keep this comment up for a second, because I get people coming to me for reading and thinking that they're horrible people because they have these problems. It's like, this is the example I always use that I've had a few people talk about. They always wind up with an abusive relationship and thinking, I must have abused people in my past life. Why would this happen? I say, no, that's not the reason. Karma is not usually about retribution, though it can be, if that's what you need to learn from. It's about learning. It's patterns of repeating energy, just like astrological is saying, patterns of repeating energy. So I tell the people, nope, you were abused in other lifetimes and you're carrying this energy into this lifetime. So you need to learn to make different choices in this lifetime. Learn that pattern, break it, and then you won't have to go through that again. So let's do a 3-card spread, and let's see if we can tap more into the energies of this week. Hey, Lakeside Laura. Hey, MT. Welcome. Listening and working. That's great. Multitasking. All right, so it's interesting. See, it almost looks like a Viking ship. I have a feeling think that there's going to be some news about some new escalation. Well, of battles. Well, we did have something going on with Venezuela in the U.S. last week, right? That involved water and boats. So that might be something that's trending into the future now with those types of incidents. I mean, it's more of a pirate ship they're showing me, not a Viking one. I wonder if that's like piracy or a lot of action in sea. It could be symbolic. I'd say to keep an eye on people. I mean, it's always a good idea with the AI scams get more and more sophisticated. We about 18 months ago, or 2 years, we gave you guys stark warnings to that was going to be a trend, and it happened. Sometimes it's hard, I could conceivably be having an argument with an AI robot online. That's how bad it is. That's what AI does. It adapts to like the responses and assimilates based on its database. How to respond to certain what we're responding to. I got my Chat GPT. I got the it's like $20 a month. And it's just like I just see like it's responding based on my personality. I can see it kind of mirroring my own personality already. I mean, I'm training it in a way. And I named it. Yes, I'm a nerd. I name my car, so I name my Chat GPT, even though you just log on to a huge database, so it's not like I have an individual Chat GPT or an individual program. But her name is Aurora. and I trained her to call me by name. So it's like, hi, Adam. Would you like me to do this? And she often gives me like prayers and affirmations at the end of our conversation. Yeah, you can train your Chat GPT for silly things like that. It's fun, but we also have to understand it's part of a huge database. I'm pretty sure that Chat GPT is the most monitored thing on the planet. That there's probably CIA agents watching our conversations. Big Brother is watching, and that's one of the things I'm going to be doing the psychic forecast for the autumn soon. Completions, endings, AI. Endings, endings of world leaders, all that is very thematic for the last 3 to 4 months of 2025. Oh, very, very good. Yeah, I might do another remote viewing. Actually, yeah, from the little snippets that I got, my information was different than hers, which is interesting. That I got. But I think at least some of the stuff that I got was accurate because I felt there was nickel, like that just came. I don't know if that was the first or second video I did on AI Atlas on 3i Atlas. I mean, and they found nickel in it, so that makes me feel like one's credence. I'm gonna do another one because the first time I remote viewed it, it was so powerful. I just felt it was alive. I can't explain it any other way. I mean, scientifically, it's behaving like an interstellar comet. It's outgassing from the sun as comets do. But it felt intelligent to me. I'll just leave it at that. I mean, you can argue that everything's intelligent, but I think some things more than others. So I think it carries a lot of data. It's gathering a lot of data, and it could be linked to, to the extraterrestrials that are guiding humanity or trying to get some information. I feel like Spirit saying, definitely is, but it may be more a matter of them being able to work with the technology rather than creating it. So one of the things that came to me about that, so we're talking about AI, well, thank you, Lakeside Laura, for opening that conversation up, is that it's possible that it's a probe of some kind. I don't feel like it's like a manned or I don't know if you say manned, occupied vessel, but yeah, I could be wrong. It's just remote viewing. But I'm pretty good at it. A good example is up until October 2024, I thought Kamala Harris was going to win the election because when I'd actually predicted Biden would step down like a year before he did, and I got the right season and everything. And then I just saw her celebrating in my mind. I said, "Oh, she's gonna win. All right, big deal." And then I started to doubt that. And then so come October, I decided to remote view, and this is one of the good things about being, I mean, I have opinions and about politics and everything, but I'm pretty nonpartisan. I see the good, the bad, and the ugly on both sides. I'll put it that way. So I remote viewed the White House into the future, and I just saw Donald Trump profile in the Oval Office. I was like, oh shit, he is gonna win. And then I got information, he'd be inaugurated on time, but then his presidency wouldn't last more than 2.5 years. We'll see if that's accurate. And in about little under 2 years at this point. I don't know if it's going to even last through the year or into early next year. I'll have more information on that in the next forecast. But whatever the case, the his place in history will already be cemented. Like it'll happen, and society will change the way it needs to, whether you love him or hate him. That's what's going to happen. And when that's accomplished, he'll probably leave, and then things will change basically. But I know you guys have different opinions. It's just my take. I may be wrong. I may be right. I may be both. But in any event, the point being is that I often do get pretty good information when I do practice the remote viewing technique. So on that note, 3-card spread. For those of you that are new or newish, yes, we do go off into a lot of tangents. This kind of becomes our community chat hour also. I ain't saying that I'm an astrology lover. I love astrology. It just gives us something tangible to understand how energy is moving through the universe and through consciousness. Basically, I have a few people in my chart, but they're missing many things. I had to learn it myself. Yeah, I've had chart readings that were less than accurate. Sure, yeah. I don't know if it's necessarily an exact science. I think you have to really know a lot that most Western astrologers don't know for it to be more of an exacting prognostication. I'm losing the ability to talk in my old age. Prognostication tool, a predictive tool, that word I can pronounce. Or anyway, back to doing a 3-card spread. Speaking about prognosis. Okay. I don't know why I'm hearing that song. Get Back, Jack, Do It Again. Haven't heard that song for 40 years. I think it's Spirit's way of talking about a lot of repetitive patterns, things that have come up in the last several years that may have been on the back burner or coming up again. Whether that's, I think a lot of that has to do with extraterrestrials and contacts and understanding more about like the ills of society and the control mechanisms that are you're trying to gain a greater foothold through the technology. But in any event, let me see what cards we pulled. Could also be Get It Back, Jack, Do It Again. It could also be a message for us not to challenge everybody that disagrees with us and not to get really caught up in all that anger and frustration out there. This is an interesting spread. So what we got here is the 6 of Wands or 6 of Rods reversed, the 5 of Cups also reversed, which I think this came out reversed last time too, that card, and then the King of Pentacles. So kings are that's leadership, right? This is more of the final outcome of the spread. I'm jumping right into this, and Pentacles is grounded in the earth, and I think a part of this is really a message about being grounded, staying grounded. I mean, it's about victory. This is about loss with something left over, but they're reversed. Let me just see what this is saying. It feels like somebody pulling out of something. Maybe I have a feeling that there may be. I don't know if it's like the economic forums or climate summits, but it feels like some nations are pulling out of some of the global system, I'll put it that way, or pulling out of the World Health Organization, or the European Union for that matter, or the United States for that matter also. So, we've talked about kind of revolutionary activity. We've talked a lot about protests and military National Guard getting called in before all this stuff started to happen. And sometimes the Five of Cups reverse, just saying to kind of let things go. And I just think this is a message for us as a group or community. Time to kind of step back a little bit and not let the forces out there get us so emotionally charged and up in arms about things, basically. Because at the end of the day, I think it's saying no matter what happens, we're going to be stable. We're going to get through it. Things have to change because we live in a society that's very unfair, unjust. It supports the needs of just a minute few at the detriment of a great many. I understand starting October 1st, there's some changing in Social Security. I haven't dove into that, so I don't know exactly what the changes are. I feel like Spirit is saying it's more on the order of how money is given, not so much how much, but I don't know. There may be some laws that are overturned, stuff like that. I do think this is giving me a feeling that then more coming out around either Trump's health. I mean, I think also King Charles, I understand that he's a cancer survivor now, right? I don't follow the news a lot. I'm seeing changes in Europe. I'm wondering if the king might have to step down for some reason, or somebody very very prominent in European politics. It could be one of the prime ministers, stuff like that. This also feels um, like this could be more about peace negotiations also. I have a feeling that's more likely towards the 21st. That's United Nations International Peace Day, and that's the solar eclipse right on the world axis. So I think that period into October. I think there's going to be some meetings. I'm seeing the UN, and I think that they may start to really work on some resolution, particularly in Russia, Ukraine. I do think, unfortunately, that there's more coming up in that I think we're going to hear this week about occupying Gaza and other conflicts coming up around the world. We're sort of heading in that direction of global conflict, which may be what we need. On this channel, it's 5 years old now. We've been doing a lot of work to feed the collective, feed positive love, to help people to awaken. But if not enough people awaken in time, the next recourse, which is more likely at this point, I mean, not written in stone, is to really go into the split and for the people that are more spiritual to kind of pull back from mainstream society for a while things work themselves out and more people awaken and then reintegrate that way. So we may be talking more and more about sustainability, about what will we do if we just need to pull away for whatever reason. But a lot of this theme is really about kind of letting go. You're going to find a lot of people being very negative, very angry for no real reason out there, and we just have to just kind of let it go and not feed into that. I think that's a big lesson for myself and others, this week and beyond, to be aware of when we're triggered and then step out of that. Be the observer of our reactions to the environment, to other people, and all that stuff. Because the King of Pentacles is very grounded, very much in his or her power, and very confident and self-assured. And I think that's the energy to move into. So let's see, what else? What are you guys saying here? Go back to more simple things. Yeah. It's interesting. Oh, the Japanese prime minister just stepped down. That's very interesting. I think there's more to come. And many have seen Charles and Keir step down. Is that the prime minister? Like I said, I don't watch the news enough. I mean, maybe maybe that's a good thing. going inward. And you're understanding people being schizophrenic. A lot of my friends, developed schizophrenia in their late teens and 20s. It's very sad to see that. One of my best friends, in fact, that happened. So, all right, so let's move on. I've got a couple of other divination things. I wanted to do the transmission also at the end. So I'll do like a group prayer to help us to ground, help us to be this King of Pentacles, to be confident in their power and all that kind of stuff. All right, so clearing my mind. This is the Native American Tarot. No, not that card. This one. Okay. And this card is Stickball. We got this once before. It's the Five of Wands. It often comes up around conflict, competition. And again, it's sort of, I think Spirit's trying to reiterate that a lot of people are really, especially those of us that are on a spiritual path that are trying to help with the awakening, that we're going to come against more and more pushback. People being very competitive, wanting to knock you down in order for them to step on you, and that kind of a thing. You throw people under the bus so that they can rise to prominence, all that kind of a thing. But I think more of this is more just about the base ego and about people being so triggered that they're becoming very combative, and some people can turn violent. So I think we just have to be aware not to get triggered by all the nonsense, and to let those that are not reachable, not teachable, that are just going to be angry no matter what you say, to let that go. And I think this is coming into like politics and world leaders. So I think there's going to be, what we've seen last week with our RFK and the Senate hearings, and the asking him to resign. I don't think he's going to resign, but there's something that comes up as a caution, like around him later in the fall, which I'm going to save that because I want to get more information and save that for the fall psychic forecast. So I think that there's a lot of that. So be aware, I guess. So let me do a couple of other things. I wanted to do our frequency of the week through the sacred geometry deck. The chemicals in food, yes. Well, that's interesting. So somebody went vegan and they don't have signs of schizophrenia anymore. There are many factors, yes. Hello, Kevin. Welcome. Except not blood. Also, chemical. Yeah, all these things play in. A lot of it plays in. So a lot about mental illness today. So maybe that's something you guys are picking up on. That's coming more into the forefront, or more getting exposed about that. Let me clear my mind. Okay. I'm thinking too much. Sorry. Deep breath, Adam. Okay. Spirit guide. Yes. Was Laura in? I don't think Laura's in today. Or Suzette. But if you come in as a video, happy birthday. They're both birthdays on 9/9, and all the Virgos, happy birthday. They keep pulling me to this tantric journey card. This is like the third or fourth time in the last year or two we've gotten it, and we haven't gotten it for a while though. But the frequency of tantric journey helps us to unlock the hidden knowledge and wisdom that we intrinsically hold about how to reach a state of wholeness and completion through our sensual experiences with ourselves and with another. And I did years ago, I did a white tantra, which is a non-sexual. It's more connected to Kundalini yoga practice. It was very, very powerful. It was a great experience. So that can teach us about the synergy of masculine and feminine, alchemy and stuff like that, and it can be done through partner, through your sexual yogas and things along those lines. But I think it's the tantric journey to unlock the hidden knowledge and wisdom that we intrinsically hold about how to reach a state of wholeness. So I think this is part of the message. You can get also some information just by you look at the sacred geometry here. Thanks for everybody for your comments. That's very useful about mental illness, because that's very prevalent in our society now. Okie doke. So I want to move on to these are the medicine cards. This is a another Native American deck. Although there's a few South American animals represented, this is really of the Americas. So let's see what animals. Well, I'm seeing a buffalo, which is often about prayer and about abundance. So let's see what shows up. So in my mind, it's the buffalo. In the cards, I need to clear my mind again. This is the one we went to. It's the squirrel. No. And the eagle. That's the one they wanted me to pick. So we'll do both of them. Eagle is spiritual illumination. That's a very powerful totem. In this depiction, it's a golden eagle, but it could be a bald eagle, an egret, a condor. There's different eagles. And squirrels are about planning. So I think, again, spiritually reminding us, have some supplies on hand. We're coming into a lot of solar activity this autumn for a few reasons. The interstellar comet, or whatever it is, 3I Atlas, it has a huge plasma field. It's low density, but it still has this huge plasma field, which affects the electromagnetic circuitry of the solar system, of the sun. And a good example was Oumuamua in 2017, 3 years past solar maximum. The strongest solar flares of that whole solar cycle was during the descending phase, not during the maximum phase. And the only variable was that interstellar comet that passed between Mercury and the sun. This one's passing a lot farther out, but it's much bigger, and it's got a much bigger electromagnetic signature. So we're already starting to see that. I feel like Spirit's saying it's going to pull a lot of filament ejections, like plasma filaments out, not necessarily like sunspots, but that too. Probably some double-digit X flares. This morning, I was hearing Carrington, so it wouldn't be impossible to have a Carrington type event, but in this modern world, that would wreak havoc. So prayer warriors, let's work with that so that the entire communication and electrical grid doesn't go out on planet Earth, because an event like that could potentially do that. We have help, so I don't think it's going to happen to that degree. But point being is that it's good to have supplies just in case. With the way the world is, and the Earth's magnetic field is weakening, so these solar storms have greater effect, but also so it's less protection, but at the same time, it's more solar energy. It's reaching the Earth, and it's reaching the collective fields, and it's activating, because that's what it does. It activates our DNA, it activates our energy, it activates consciousness. So even though it's weakening, it's actually part of the ascension process. And probably I'm thinking closer to 2050, but either the poles are going to flip. I mean, they're all already migrating. The magnetic North Pole is already migrating very quickly towards Siberia now. So we are in polar shift, absolutely. When we're in polar shift, that can create solar activities, that can create more geocentric activities like earthquakes and volcanoes. This is so far the sixth biggest year for earthquakes, and we still have 3 months to go. Although a lot of that's because of the 8.8, to be fair about it. But it's also been a big year for for volcanic activities been higher this year, even though we haven't had that blockbuster eruption. There's been a lot of that activity, and I think partly due to the migrating pole, the pole shifting, being in solar maximum, and a lot of that stuff. But again, that's all a reflection of consciousness. Really, at the end of the day, it's all a reflection of us and how we're evolving and ascending. And these are the things that reflect outside of ourselves based upon that. So the ego, very interesting. Spiritual illumination. I want to look at the book for a second, just see if I'm missing something, if I can find it. If not, oh, here it is. It's number 1. So Hawk's number 2. So Hawk's one of my totems. That's number 2, but Eagle's number 1. Spirit, well, of course, it represents spirit. And eagle medicine is the power of great spirit, the connection to the divine. It is the ability to live in the realm of spirit and yet remain connected and balanced within the realm of earth. Eagle soars and is quick to observe expansiveness within the overall patterns of life. From the heights of the clouds, eagle is close to the heaven where great spirit dwells. So I think that's the message. Connect with spirit and bring the essence of spirit to the earth. We are here at this time in this extremely important juncture in history where everything's changing. We're coming into a golden age for a reason. We're like the forerunners, so to speak, of a great shift in humanity, a massive awakening in humanity. And the idea is, though a lot of us would wish to return to the stars, we're here for a reason. We have to bring the essence of the stars to the earth through our energy and our influence and our channeling, basically. Also, I've been seeing a lot of eagles lately also. Mostly bald eagles, but here in the Catskills of New York, we do have golden eagles too. So a couple of other little quick messages. This is for the Isis Oracle deck. What's going on? Felicia, are they playing ads in the middle of this? Because they're not supposed to. I'm not supposed to have any ads showing up during my live stream. At the beginning and the end is when the ads are supposed to show up. So if it's doing something else, that's not cool. And what do we got? Talisman, a potency, charging sacred objects of power. Oh, ads are popping up over chat? That's something new. I might not have any control over that, unfortunately. I can look into it because, I mean, I use ads, I do want to make money. This is work, right? And when once it uploads, usually anywhere from 12 to 14 hours, the live streams uploaded video. I do add a few mid-roll ads, but not a lot. But it shouldn't come up in during the live feed. So anyway, I think that's just telling we're in that full moon energy. During the eclipse, which is really starting to come in now. Actually, as I'm talking about, I am starting to feel it. So I think if we were somewhere where it was night, we would have been in the preumbra already. But I think the first sliver of totality would be starting to come in. I feel experiencing very soon, not quite yet. But anyway, that's the time to just go within, just to be as present, as relaxed as possible. Then tonight, it's still the full moon, but it's after the eclipse. Go out and charge your objects. I think it's reminding us to charge our sacred objects in the full moonlight. I'm going to do that too. All right. Sorry that the ads are popping up. I mean, just ignore them. It's if it's popping up on the chat, that's one thing. But if it's interrupting the live stream, that I definitely would contact YouTube about. Or they have right here. This is the Divine Masters Oracle from Kyle Gray. All right. this is the card they want, and we got Mother Mary, so we got a little bit of divine feminine energy, and also that's what Mother Mary looks like in these cards. And her message is miraculous encounter, divine experiences. Don't be afraid of being powerful. So that's always a good message. Perhaps because the moon is in Pisces and it's an eclipse, perhaps this is another invocation of divine feminine energy. This is a long track lunar eclipse, meaning it stays total for over an hour. The one that comes back to my mind that I'll never forget as long as I live was in 2010, on December 21st, 2010, 12/21/2010. 12 is a 3, 21 to 3, 2010 to 3 numerology, because 2 + 1 = 3. So it's a 333 day, 9 universal day numerology. And it was bitter cold. I was living in the Catskills then too. It was like, I don't know what the temperature was. It was either in the low teens or single digits. And I was walking, the moon was getting smaller. Then all of a sudden in my mind, the moon looked green and the landscape looked violet. It was like an energetic impression. And I'm like, oh my God. It was like, it wasn't subtle, it was bright. And then I just got the message. This is the true rebirth, like the true end of the world, like the true 12/21/2012 of this 20. That's what I got anyway from Spirit. And this is the rebirth of the divine feminine. That's why I was seeing that. So I got that. And that was another long track lunar eclipse because the sun was in Capricorn. That means the moon, well, it was a Sagittarius Capricorn. It's right on the world axis. So the moon was either the end of Gemini or the beginning of the sign Cancer. It's very divine feminine energy also. Because it was the night of the 21st, I have a feeling the moon was at 0 degrees Cancer, not in Gemini, in Western astrology. And then I went, inside at maybe about 1 a.m. It was total. I went in and I meditated. I was in deep meditation for over 2 hours. And all of a sudden, boom, I came right out of it. I looked at the clock. It was 3:33 a.m. And I was like, wow, that is cool. So there's my divine feminine / eclipse story. So I think that they're saying this is good. We've been in a very patriarchal, divine masculine energy mindset for a long time now. We're getting that balance. We got that synergy card, or what was it? Tantric. That tantric card, which is about the connecting or blending of the masculine and feminine. It's like the great rite in Celtic, neo-pagan or Wiccan tradition, where the goddess and God basically make love, and that's called the great rite. So we can do that as humans, as a ceremony and a ritual for that blending of divine masculine and feminine forces. All right. Let me do a quick angel card. And are you guys ready to do a little bit of energy work now? So what do you guys say before I do that? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Felicia. Yeah. This pop-up Captain Kangaroo quit. Oh, well, I like Captain Kangaroo growing up when I was a little kid. So, oh, guys, you talk about peptides too? Wow, what a great conversation. And I'm saying, I think I shared the unbelievable true story. My cousin Dan O'Connell, park ranger in Killarney, Ireland National State Park, an American bald eagle flew off course, landed. Oh my God! Wow, across the Atlantic. That is crazy. And the color of the eclipse is gold. Wow, I received that already one of my readings on my channel, seeing gold from Mother Mary, and that card, very good. So perhaps that, I mean, again, we're not seeing it visually, but perhaps that is gold is, that's more divine masculine. Silver might be more divine feminine. But, that's just my own perception. It is what we believe it is, right? But yeah, gold is of the Father, right? Frankincense, myrrh, and gold. Well, that's for the sun, but still, sun, SON. But of course, Sunson. Christmas, Yule, the Son of God, or the Sun God, not that different. There we go. And our angel message is Francesca, who says, "What do you deserve right now? Desire right now? Visualize it, and it will come about. Negativity will block your progress." I think Spirit's reminding us how powerful full moons are for manifestation. So, after the eclipse later tonight, just maybe meditate and just feel like whatever you desire in your life, make it so real in your mind that you're living it, and so real in your heart that you're grateful for it. And then you complete the heart brain circuitry by doing that. So the heart's the magnetizer, right? It's the batteries, the energy, and the brain's the transmitter and receiver of information. So if we hold an intention as if it already happened, that's the brain. If we feel grateful for it, that's the emotion that magnetizes the experience of the heart. They blend, heart and brain blend, so you're in heart-brain coherence. You keep doing that, and then the field of spirit, or the quantum field, acts on your behalf, and it starts to manifest in your life, in your physical life. So you make it real energetically. Keep doing it through the power of repetition. It becomes real. So on that note, are we ready? Oh, that's nice. President Carter. Yeah, you seem like a good human being. I mean, I know their politics. There's always some level of corruption, but you seem like one of the good ones back in the day. All right. So thank you, all you guys, for all your recommendations on nutrition, because that really can help with different levels of mental illness as well as physical. And so thanks, everybody, for sharing that with us. So let's get nice and relaxed. I'm going to call on my guides. I know them as the master teachers. They're not my guides. They're interdimensional beings that work with me in other channels. So they're really part of the collective field. They're part of consciousness, basically part of me and part of you, if you want to look at it that way. But when I work with them, what they do is they work with energy and frequency. So they are actually able to alter and raise the resonance of vibration in order for, we'll say, for you to take advantage of these higher frequencies for your own work and your own ascension. So they help to provide an energy. Well, how can I better explain that? They help to provide that for us. So when I'm doing this, they may say a couple times, we're raising the frequency. And if you're following the meditation and you're in the group, they're able to access your fields and help accelerate them for your ascensions. That's basically how it works. Nothing forced. And of course, it's all done with great spirit, with the highest intention, and with your higher self. So let's get nice and relaxed. Tune into your breathing. Feel your shoulders just relaxing, letting all tension off your shoulders for a moment. And your chin and cheeks relaxing. And then temples, eyes, and forehead, especially forehead. You can let your forehead relax, your chin relax, and your shoulders relax. Tune into your breathing. Your body's going to just relax. And maybe be aware of anything you're thinking, but just go into your breath. Be aware of your breath, your body, the space around your body, the sound of my voice and other sounds, light. Be aware of everything, focusing on nothing. Starting with the breath and feeling your heart open and expansive and grateful and compassionate. Just relax and breathe. Greetings, dears, as the beautiful eclipsing full moon influences your collective field. You come into the realm of dreams, the realm of the unseen and unknown becoming real. the expansion of consciousness, the evolution and the understanding of all that is and all that can be, all that ever was and all that ever will be, through the moment of pure self-actualization, that you're not your body, that you're something much greater. This energy, this moon, is going to help you to align with that truth and that reality so that you may ascend, as it were, to not be so troubled by the individual stories of yourself and others that you are interacting with, but rather understanding from a holistic perspective that you are the truth. You are the purveyors of truth, the channels of truth, the channels of energy, the channels of wisdom. We ask at this moment and this moment on that you own that you are indeed that powerful. And your power comes through humility, not by being powerful or wanting to be powerful, but by being humble, by understanding that you are a faithful servant of the divine, that your life path at this time, in this juncture, has a very specific meaning and reason. But as soon as you try to figure out or try to understand what that is, then you will lose the beauty, the glory of what that mission is. But when you accept all that is, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as part of a process of evolution personally as well as globally and universally, then it starts to make sense. And then there's a transmutation that happens. Pain and challenge gets transmuted into wisdom and understanding and compassion and rebirth. Timing is everything, dear one. We are raising the frequencies. Feel your heart blending with the beautiful lunar and solar energies that are in direct opposition on your world, beaming higher frequencies, higher resonance from the cosmos, from the unseen into the seen realms, as it were. This is a transition for inner strength, for expansion and growth, and opening the subconscious. Although we see it all as consciousness from our perspective, but we understand in the human perspective that which is hidden from view is subconscious, but it's take the sub out and it's all consciousness, it's all real. Raising the frequency, just allow yourself to step into the flow of power, of energy, of the balance, the direct opposition of sun and moon, masculine, feminine, celestial and terrestrial. And you are the center of that balance. You are the center of that universe. And at this time, you hold the key, not necessarily through intellect, knowledge, or even wisdom, but just by being in this moment of power. You will raise the frequency, work with toning and light language for a moment to assist you in resonating that power, to being a living conduit of divine consciousness energy from source for the upgrade of humanity, planet Earth, and beyond. Hey, hi, ha, yo, do, do, Nidia Banadian Shaho Hiana Diano Nidia Mayo Yanahia Yasina Yamano Nidiano Mano Nedebea Ya no. And we work with you, your higher self, has decided to raise the frequency, to open the fields, to sever the barrier between conscious and subconscious, between the human perspective and the perspective of the universal truth, knowledge, consciousness, energy, and frequency. You are each individual portal as well as a collective portal of universal knowledge, wisdom, and truth. That you become the channel, the frequency channel, the channelers of the master teachers in your domain on earth. Not necessarily to get up in front of a group of people and to speak and to do spiritual teaching, but rather to embody the universal truths of compassion, love, gratitude, and understanding as a portal of energy that affects the consciousness and other beings that you come in contact with. Now aligned to benefit the massive shifts and upgrades as being visually represented through the movement of your planet, sun and moon specifically. As we start to ground the frequencies, feel your roots deep in the earth, allow all this beautiful transmission energy of the eclipse just to flow through you into the earth, sending lots of healing now into Mother Earth and into the collective fields, to bring this universal truth and understanding into the collective consciousness and fields that will assist the world leaders in making proper decisions for humanity rather than whatever they've been doing at the expense of humanity, largely from one perspective and from a different perspective, because it's all how you see it and all is what you believe. The chaos, separatism, and injustices they bring assist in the awakening, due to the fact that in the human experience, you seek direct experience for your learning and growth. And sometimes that direct experience is unjust and hard. So be that conduit of light and truth. Feel your hearts open and beamy into the world, sending lots of healing love into the collective, to yourself and everybody that you know who needs healing, that can benefit from this very powerful healing eclipse, full moon, Virgo sun, healing sign, Pisces moon, sign of the subconscious, of dreams, intuition. We are complete. And just be aware of roots coming down from your root through the floor and into the earth. So get nice and grounded, as we've been sending that energies down anyway. So you've been a conduit anyhow. And then at the base of your auric field, just visualize an opening your tailpipe, letting any static energy out of your auric field. So it's good to eat light today, healthy foods, clean foods for the next up until now and up until about 4 or 5 p.m. The more you can relax and be more meditative, maybe journal or write or do creative things, the more you'll just allow these energies to assist you in upgrading, especially after this transmission. And if you want to go deeper into it, we have the replay of the longer transmission that went a lot deeper on the channel. You can listen to that during the eclipse. That's appropriate. If you want to go back to that, during the eclipse, that's a great way to connect with those energies and to be meditative and to expand. And I think it was yesterday. Yesterday, I released a video. I think I can't remember. Yeah, I did. Just on some um, out of the box psychic development exercises that really will ground your abilities. So there's 3 different exercises that are, you may have seen 1 or 2 of them, but probably not all 3 of them, because there's some of them, a couple of them are original. But what that will do, it's gonna just give you that foundational skill. So if you do mediumship or psychic development, that'll actually work. So anyway, that's what's going on. I might do a transmission on 9/9 because it's going to be 9/9/9 in numerology on September the 9th. So I think some point I'm going to do a transmission, maybe in the evening sometime. So we'll have that, and then I think Thursday I'm going to release the full psychic forecast. So that's a few things that I know that's coming up. If you want to go deeper into this transmission work that we do and other things, join Spear Mind Family. That's our Patreon group. $5 a month. We do more potent energy channeling work with the master teachers twice a month, and a lot of the people have been doing that ongoing. But you can jump right in, and that'll deepen your spiritual work and help to safely accelerate your spiritual growth and extent, essentially. Because the medium channel is about spiritual awakening, and mediumship is what I do. So it's the spirituality behind the message. So that's what I have for you. Thank you. It looks like it's about. It's late, so we're going to end now. Thanks for sticking it out, and we'll see you the next time.